Deep within the whispering woods, shrouded by the gnarled arms of ancient trees and a persistent, chilling fog, stood the Blackwood Manor. Its silhouette, a jagged tear against the bruised twilight sky, was a constant, grim reminder of a past drenched in opulence and ended in blood. Once, this grand estate had been the heart of a prosperous family, the Vanderbilts, whose laughter and life echoed through its halls. Now it was a tomb, silent save for the sighing wind and the spectral whispers of its former inhabitants. The stories woven by the local townsfolk were dark tapestries of a single, horrific night, a night of betrayal and a brutal massacre that had stolen the lives of the entire family, leaving their souls shackled to the decaying mansion. They said that each night, as the moon cast its pale, skeletal light upon the broken panes of the windows, the restless spirits of the Vanderbilts would rise. They would wander the dusty corridors, reenacting their final agonizing moments, their ethereal forms trapped in a tormenting loop, forever searching for a peace they could never find. Their sorrow was a palpable force, a cold spot in the air, a mournful cry carried on the midnight breeze, a psychic stain that time could not wash away. The house didn't just hold memories. It held the very essence of their pain, a living, breathing monument to tragedy. And to this tapestry of local legend and palpable dread stepped Lily, a young woman with a spirit as curious as it was brave. She had recently moved to the sleepy adjacent town of Havenwood, seeking a quiet escape from the clamor of city life. But it was the silence of the Blackwood Manor and the loud, fearful stories that sought to fill it that truly captured her imagination. The townsfolk, with their grim faces and hushed tones, spoke of the house as a place cursed, a wound on the landscape that would never heal. They warned her to stay away, sharing tales of those who had ventured too close and had returned changed, their eyes reflecting a hollowness, a shadow of the manor's own despair. They spoke of disembodied voices calling from empty rooms, of spectral figures seen flitting past windows, and a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. But their warnings, meant to deter, only fanned the flames of Lily's intrigue. She was a historian by trade, a seeker of stories hidden in the dust of the past. The manor was not just a haunted house to her. It was a puzzle, a historical anomaly, a tragic narrative begging to be understood. Driven by an insatiable desire to uncover the truth behind the folklore, she made a decision that would set the townsfolk's teeth on edge. She would venture into the heart of the darkness and investigate the secrets of Blackwood Manor herself. Under the cloak of a moonless night, with only a flickering lantern to pierce the oppressive darkness, Lily pushed open the colossal, groaning oak doors of the manor. The air that rushed out to greet her was stale and cold, thick with the scent of decay, damp wood, and something else, an almost metallic tang of old, forgotten sorrow. Dust motes danced like frantic sprites in the beam of her light, illuminating a grand foyer frozen in time. Furniture lay draped in ghostly white sheets. Portraits on the walls were obscured by cobwebs like fine gray lace, and a grand staircase spiraled upwards into an impenetrable darkness. Every creak of the floorboards under her feet, every rustle from the shadowed corners, seemed to be a voice from the past, a whisper trying to communicate. Her heart pounded a frantic rhythm against her ribs, a drumbeat in the suffocating silence. Guided by an instinct she couldn't explain, a pull towards the manor's deepest secrets, she found her way to a sprawling, book-lined study. There, half hidden beneath a pile of rotted ledgers on a massive mahogany desk, she found it, a small, leather-bound journal. Its pages, brittle and yellowed with age, were filled with the elegant, looping script of Eleanor Vanderbilt, the matriarch of the doomed family. As Lily carefully turned the fragile pages, the lantern light casting dancing shadows around her, the journal began to unfurl the family's dark and devastating history. It was not a simple tale of murder, but a complex web of jealousy, forbidden magic, and a terrible curse. Eleanor wrote of a cursed amulet, an heirloom passed down through generations, which promised great power but demanded a terrible price. A bitter rival envious of the Vanderbilts. Prosperity had twisted the amulet's magic, turning it into a conduit for a blood curse, one that would bind the family as spirits to the house until an ancient and forgotten ritual of purification was performed. The journal detailed the ritual in painstaking, desperate detail. It required specific herbs gathered under a full moon, a chant spoken in an ancient tongue, and an offering made at the very heart of the house, the place where the tragedy began. The words on the page were a desperate plea from beyond the grave, a map left behind for a savior who might one day find it. As Lily read, a profound sense of purpose settled over her. She was no longer just a curious investigator. She was the heir to a sacred duty, the only one who could answer Eleanor's century-old prayer and free the tormented souls trapped within the manor's walls. The night deepened, and the house began to awaken around her. The air grew colder, and the spectral whispers she had felt earlier now coalesced into distinct, sorrowful voices. A child's weeping echoed from the top of the stairs, a man's angry shout erupted from a nearby parlor, and a woman's mournful song drifted from the grand ballroom. Then she saw them. Shimmering, translucent figures began to manifest in the periphery of her vision. A young boy clutching a toy train, his eyes wide with perpetual fear. A stern-faced patriarch pacing with an unseen fury. And Eleanor herself, a graceful but tormented apparition, her hands clasped as if in prayer, her spectral gaze pleading with Lily. They were not malevolent, but their anguish was a physical force, a crushing weight that threatened to suffocate her. Their presence was a constant, chilling reminder of the violence that had transpired. Following the journal's cryptic instructions, Lily gathered the necessary components, dried lavender and sage she found in the old conservatory, a silver locket that belonged to Eleanor, and a chalice from the dining hall. With the spirits swirling around her like a ghostly tempest, she made her way to the grand ballroom, the epicenter of the massacre. In the center of the room, under a shattered crystal chandelier, she drew a circle with salt from her bag, placed the items within it, and her voice, trembling but resolute, began to chant the ancient words from the journal. As the final syllable of the ritual chant left her lips, a blinding, ethereal light erupted from the circle, engulfing the entire ballroom. The tormented cries of the spirits shifted, their anguish melting away into soft, grateful sighs. The figures of the Vanderbilt family, which had been contorted in pain, now straightened, their translucent forms glowing with a serene, golden luminescence. Eleanor Vanderbilt floated towards Lily, a gentle, peaceful smile gracing her spectral lips. She reached out a shimmering hand, not to touch, but in a gesture of profound gratitude. One by one, the spirits of the family turned towards the light, their forms becoming brighter and less defined, dissolving like smoke in the wind. The little boy's weeping turned into a faint, happy giggle before he vanished. The patriarch's angry scowl was replaced by a look of peaceful release. Finally, Eleanor gave Lily one last thankful nod before she too dissolved into the radiant light, ascending towards a peace she had been denied for a century. As the last spirit faded, the blinding light receded, and a profound, tranquil silence fell over the house. The oppressive cold vanished, replaced by a neutral, still air. The curse was broken. The restless spirits were finally free. In the first light of dawn, Lily stepped out of the Blackwood Manor, leaving the groaning oak doors slightly ajar. The sun's rays seemed to touch the old house for the first time in an age, warming its weathered stone and chasing away the deepest shadows. The palpable aura of dread was gone, replaced by a quiet, empty stillness. The house was no longer a prison for tormented souls. It was merely an old, abandoned building, a silent monument to a history that had finally found its conclusion. Yet, as she walked away, casting one last look at its solemn silhouette against the morning sky, She knew the manor would forever stand as a powerful reminder. It was a testament to the enduring power of the past, a quiet guardian of secrets that are never truly gone, buried but not forgotten. The spirits had departed, but their story was now woven into the very fabric of the place, a whisper in the wood, a memory in the stone. And Lily understood that while some curses can be broken and some souls can be freed, some things, the echoes of a great tragedy, the shadow of a life once lived, may never truly leave. Ma ke kyun ha hain bai.